All right, first up news from Vladivostok, where Prime Minister Modi is visiting a shipbuilding yard with President Vladimir Putin. Let's get you the live visuals from that very location. Now, these are the live visuals coming to you from Vladivostok, where Modi and Putin are visiting a shipbuilding yard. Remember, you're watching the comprehensive coverage of the PM's visit to Vladivostok. Here on WION World is One, we'll get you all the latest updates from our correspondent Karthikeya Sharma in Vladivostok momentarily. But for the moment, these are the latest visuals coming to you from the shipbuilding yard in Vladivostok, where Prime Minister Modi is visiting a shipbuilding yard. Remember, Prime Minister Modi is on a 36-hour visit to Vladivostok to attend the 5th Eastern Economic Forum and the 20th Annual India-Russia Summit. Right, so as we stay on these visuals, on the right-hand side of your screens is the name of the shipyard, the Vesta shipyard, which is being built in Russia's Far East. It is to make ice-class vessels and oil breakers. Ships to deliver Russian oil to India and others in the future. So these are the main points of the Vesta shipyard in Vladivostok. Remember, Russia wants to diversify its portfolio in the Far East and to reduce its dependence on the East Asian markets and looking for India as an alternative. But India is looking to diversify its Russian portfolio beyond nuclear energy and defense to other areas, including information technology and manpower. Right, so as we stay on these visuals, to catch a first glimpse of Modi and Putin at the shipbuilding yard in Vladivostok. Remember, this is Prime Minister Modi's third meeting with Putin this year alone. And there you are. These are the live visuals coming to you from the shipbuilding yard in Vladivostok. We have the visuals of Prime Minister Modi and President Vladimir Putin on your screens right now. Prime Minister Modi is on a 36-hour visit to Vladivostok in Russia's Far East for the Eastern Economic Forum and the 20th Annual India-Russia Summit. As I mentioned before, this is this year, but the 20th Annual Summit overall. Right, and staying on news from Vladivostok, India has set up its own pavilion called the India Lounge at the Eastern Economic Forum with the support of the Ross Congress Foundation. The lounge will serve as a platform to demonstrate investment opportunities in the Far East, promote Indian investments in the region, and attract Russian investors to the growing economy of India. Our political editor Karthikeya Sharma caught up with FICCI President Sandeep Somani for more on this. Listen in.
Can you tell us about and the purpose?
So the idea of the India Lounge is basically to, have a place of residence for India in this large economic conference. Also to invite our Russian friends and partners. As you may be aware, this has been a hugely successful second trip. I was here a few weeks ago with the Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyalji. At that time, we had over 160 delegates coming in from India to assess different points and different industries across this area. We are again back now for the Far Eastern Economic Summit, and there are 61 businessmen who have already come into Russia.
India-Russia relationship has moved from state enterprises now to private players. So can we say that the transition is taking place, from public sector enterprises to private players?
I would say there has been significant progress. The two states will always be very close to each other. So to give you an example, during the visit of Modi ji, 30 MOUs will be signed between India and Russia 14 are from the government sector, PSUs, and 16 are actually from the private sector. So that answers your question to an extent, that the private sector participation in Russia, Indian participation is growing, and this is a good sign, of things to come in the future.
And lastly, diamond, tea, these are the areas where Indian participation is pretty much visible in Russian Far East. But when we talk about hydrocarbon, oil and other energy reserves, do you think more needs to be done in terms of private players?
Yeah, so I think the government has deep relations in terms of ONGC having good relations, interests in oil and gas fields. I think the private sector is also looking at Russia. Russia is today the largest producer of oil in the world, and it's a very significant producer of gas.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is attending the 5th Eastern Economic Forum in Russia. All eyes are on the bilateral between Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin. The big focus is on expanding energy cooperation. It's a new push to time-tested ties. WION's Kartikeya Sharma reports from Vladivostok. Stay updated only on WION. World is One.